Internet does not forget. We have never been this much polarized. I'm a federal person. My mind is federal. My brain is federal. My loyalty is federal. I do things for the federal government. So I cannot come here and try to be sentimental. No, I'm a federal person.
So will your life be at risk now that they're hearing you?
I don't care. I don't care. And my colleagues, they know me. Those people that listen to me, they know me. I don't care. The issue is that this country is bigger than individual. That is the issue. This country is bigger than individuals. Buhari will come and go. Eliminating me or killing me will not solve the problem and will not add value. But he will come and go. And somebody must come and repair the damage to the psyche of this society, the damage to the polarization, to the nepotism that I've never seen in my life. I work with all these presidents. This is the worst situation I've found myself. And believe me, Internet does not forget. I was part of the people that helped to bring Buhari to government because I believe in him.
Have you worked with the government after that?
After
you helped bring the government?
Oh, of course, I worked with him. We brought him in 2015, and I work as the Deputy Director of Defense Administration. And we have a lot of hope in him. And we actually are ready to do anything for him. What he has turned out over the years is shocking to us. I was in Harvard in 2014, in December, when the Department of State Services and CIA and others were contemplating about Buhari and other aspirants. I know what we did to convince the American government that the only person that can come and put this country right is Buhari. That was before the Lagos, the APC, before they chose within.
Right.
And that was how Tinubu came in. We know what we did, but what he has done in the past 6 years is shocking. It's unprecedented. And it should not be allowed to be swept under the carpet because the damage to the psyche of this country is monumental. When you do the processing and you do the analysis before dissemination point, you discover that the end game for them is to just turn this country into like a Taliban type of country. And it's a mindset. And anything goes. In other words, 10% casualties, 20% casualties is allowed in trying to achieve the end game. I said that is not the center of gravity of the problem of Boko Haram insurgency that we were having between that 2012 and 2017. And General Lansha can ask me, allow me, why are you giving problem? What is the problem? Give us the answer. And I told General Lansha that if I tell you the answer, you're not going to be able to solve the problem. He said, what is the problem? I said, the center of gravity of Boko Haram and insurgency in Nigeria are the sponsors of that program. It was beyond us. Because the job we need to do is kinetics. Fight, destroy places, resolve issues. Yep. But we cannot resolve issue of sponsors of Boko Haram that were in Buhari's government, that we know them.
When you say we, who?
I was in the military intelligence. Okay. And the defense headquarters staff that I work with, they know. And that was why we couldn't pursue that aspect that could have resolved that problem. Because you remember this Boko Haram issue started since 2012. Yeah. And I was in the military intelligence that time. We arrested those people. It is my organization that actually conducts interrogation and interview. And they mention names. I mean, I can't come on the air and start mentioning names of people that are presently in government now that I know. Presently in government. That the boys that we arrested mentioned. Some of them are governors now. Some of them are in the Senate. Some of them are in Aso Rock. Why should a government try to cause this kind of embarrassment and insecurity to the sense of what happened yesterday?
Alpha, did you hear? Very good. Internet, not the lie. This was interview during the time of Buhari. Internet, not the lie. He said it before this Scott Perry news that nearly broke the internet. The sponsors of Boko Haram, the money they are using to fund Boko Haram. This man said it. Now, the problem is, how do you fight these people who are already in government, in Aso Rock, in Senate House, governors, ministers? That is the problem. So it has not started today. This man has said it. If they have listened to him finding solutions or bringing those people to book, by now, at least we would have known where we are if we still be standing here talking about Boko Haram sponsors. Now, listen to this now. Please, if today is your first time coming across this YouTube channel, please do me a favor, like, share, comment, subscribe to this YouTube channel, hit the notification button so you get to see video like this when next time it's being posted. Please, let's watch.
As we continue to review developments in the National Assembly following allegations of USAID funding terrorism in Nigeria. Thank you for joining us on the news this hour. Precisely, how do you see these huge allegations impact on collaboration between Nigeria and the US in terms of fighting and countering insurgency?
Thank you very much for having me. I've been following the trend, and I think I'm surprised as to the way we are looking at this event. Probably, we don't know that in international relations, there's no friend. What is there is interest. And American, United States, the British, the French, they pursue their national interests the way they deem fit. For me, it's left for Nigeria, to put its ass together. I've always maintained that to be in the government in Africa, you require three things: intellect, character, and courage. Whatever we say the USAID is doing, it's in their own interest. We should put our ass together in Nigeria and ensure that we avoid three very fearful things. One of them is espionage. The second one is subversion, and the other one is sabotage. It's not only the US that is doing this. The only thing that you see difference here is that the United States of America is about the best democracy in the world. That's why you can hear this. The British are doing worse. The French are doing worse. So are the Germans. But you will not hear it. The news scramble now. We are having the Chinese. We are having the Russians. They are doing the same thing. I think this just, for me, is a wake-up call for Nigeria to understand that our national interests should be paramount. And whatever the other countries are doing, we should actually try to counter them by expressing courage in dealing with the United States, the British, the French, the Russians, and the Chinese. They will always follow their national interests. And what is it? Nigeria has huge resources, and they're going to do anything to have a go at it. So I think I will not blame the United States, French, or the British as to what they do. I will blame us.
How do you see us now?
I want to say something quick.
Yes, I'm wondering how you see us in that context. For instance, the lawmakers and intelligence units work together to get to the bottom of this and ensuring it doesn't happen again in the future if it is true.
It will always happen because when you look at the history, look at in the 70s, in the 80s, look at what happened in Afghanistan, what happened in Iran, Saddam Hussein, Libya, even Syria. This will always happen. And I want to tell our audience that there are two elements to this. The first element is the hostile intelligence service that try to ride us so that they can take our resources, including all the money stolen from Nigeria, including our brains, and whatever solid minerals we have. It is their prerogative to do that. But the other aspect that all the pundits have listened to have not addressed is the domestic subversive organization. CIA, MI5, Mossad, they cannot do anything except there are some Nigerians that are ready to cooperate with them. When you talk about terrorism funding, there are the Nigerian counterparts that we have neglected over the past 10 years. I said that the people you are supposed to go after are the sponsors. Now we are talking about the foreign sponsors. Nobody's talking about the 400 people that were arrested, mentioned by Malami, 400 below the change related sponsors. The other one that was sent to us also by Dubai, nothing happened to them. And every pundit I've listened to, I've been talking about USAID. What about the Nigerian ID? I think we should actually try to look at the issue of terrorism in Nigeria holistically and leave the Americans alone. They will always do this. The British are doing the same as we speak. The French are doing the same as we speak. The Russians, the Chinese are doing the same thing as we speak. Let us look inwards, because without the insider in Nigeria, USAID they are nothing. I train with them. I train with the Mossad, train with the Americans. They cannot do anything to you except you have those Nigerians here that are collaborating with them. Let me give you a figure. If you work with USAID in Nigeria, the minimum salary you are going to get in a year is $13,000. $13,000 is the minimum wage.
If you are higher up, you get as much as $80,000. I have people say, oh, they're going to absorb them into Nigerian space. Can you pay them $80,000? And if people are paid $80,000, $50,000 to work for USAID in Nigeria, they are going to sell out. I think we should stop all these aids in Nigeria so that we can actually regain our sovereignty indeed. We don't have sovereignty as it is now.
Good way to put it, and a very unique point that you've made. There were conversations as to, the role that such agencies play in Nigeria and whether or not we have really, gained that level of economic independence, especially with the body language we're seeing from the U.S. president. Would you say that economically we're prepared to take those tough decisions you're talking about?
Oh, absolutely. Nigeria is one of the richest countries in the world. We have the money, we have the resources, both human resources and material resources. I think what we need to do is to have the courage, I mentioned it earlier, to govern this country at any level. You need intellect, you need character, and you need courage. The most important is courage. To relate with the United States or some of these people that we go to Chatham House and so on, we need courage to tell them to go to hell. We don't need them. They need us. We are the giant of Africa. Since we went to ECOMOG, they've been after Nigeria. And this thing I'm seeing now, it's not new. It's been on forever. I was in the system and I know this has always been happening. But why they get away with this is because we have Nigerians in the military, in the political space, that are working with them. And that is why they are getting away with it. But we need to send a note of warning to those Nigerians that are ready to collaborate with the foreign partners, the postal intelligence service, to undo our sovereignty. I think we need to set an example, get those people that were mentioned in the past, arraign them, and try them in a court of law, so that others will stop collaborating with them. I don't blame Americans. I don't blame the British. If I were them, I would do the same. If you are stupid, I would try to help you. With your resources, I will take them away. So I think we should try to look inwards and forget about the USAID. I think we should look inwards. We have our internal problem. And I think that's what we should focus on. They will always do what they do.
Indeed. Fish out the moles and someone encouraged to sever relations with these agencies. Retired Navy Commander Associate
and my distinguished colleagues, the motion, as I earlier said, is the urgent need to investigate the alleged funding of Boko Haram by the United States Agency for International Development, USAID. The Senate notes that on Thursday, 13th February 2025, the entire social media space was agog with trending video of a United States Republican Congressman, Scott Perry, representing Pennsylvania, alleging at the inaugural hearing of Subcommittee on Delivering on Government Efficiency that USAID has been funding terrorist organizations across the world, Boko Haram inclusive. Also notes that this allegation is coming up at the heels of the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, raising an alarm that Boko Haram terrorist groups are being sponsored and trained by international organizations. Further notes that over the years, the modus operandi of Boko Haram in Nigeria has been a source of great concern, as their source of funding and operations have been shrouded in mystery. Recalls that the devastation caused by Boko Haram in the northeast region and other parts of the country, which includes the bombing of UN building in August 2021, and of course, the bombing of the police headquarters here in Abuja, among other attacks, led to loss of lives of Nigerians in thousands and wanton destructions on properties, which occasioned unprecedented internal displacement across the country. Also recalls that the federal government over the years strived to put measures in place to curtail the activities of terrorist groups in the country by expending huge resources, which seem not to have yielded much result, as the nefarious activities of terrorists continued unabatedly, and observes that the monumental devastation caused by Boko Haram in this country should be a matter of concern, as it has dented the image of this country among the Committee of Nations for allegations to begin to emerge at this point in time that some international organizations are behind this unwholesome act. There is the urgent need for steps to be taken by the federal government to unravel the mystery behind this whole episode. Accordingly, one, urge the federal government to constitute an interministerial committee comprising of ministries of defense, interior, foreign affairs, and the headships of armed forces and other security agencies to investigate the allegation and make appropriate recommendation on the way forward. And two, set up an ad hoc committee comprising of the chairman and vice chairman of the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters, Defense, Army, Navy, Air Force, National Security and Intelligence, Police Affairs and Foreign Affairs to liaise with the relevant authorities to ascertain the veracity of the allegation with the view to taking appropriate legislative measures. I so move.
The Senior Senator Kagashevu, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Life Venture.
Thank you, Mr. President, and my distinguished colleagues.
Senator Abdul Nengi for his contribution, and to say that even when I read the issue on the social media, I was a bit circumspect. You know, social media is garbage in, garbage out. Anybody can say anything on the social media. Many of us have experienced social media attacks as leaders, and sometimes 99% of what is in the social media is inaccurate, and sometimes total speculation, and sometimes based on mischief. So there is no way we can shave a man's head behind his back. We should, we must hear from our own security agencies. We must hear from our intelligence agencies. When you mentioned the NIA and the DSS, I also believe we should also look at the DIA, Defense Intelligence Agency, because they are also interacting with people in the theater of war in the Northeast. So they will have information on past arrests and questionings and all that to brief us. And security is not something we discuss in the market. It's something that should be done in closed session. Distinguished Senate President, you have anything to add? Then we close. Thank you. And in fact, even the U.S. Senate or the U.S. Congress will not delve into allegations on social media. And if they have to, they will invite their security chiefs to get details. So the National Security Advisor, the NIA, the DSS, DIA, we must hear from them in closed session so that they brief us, because they have the data, they know the record, and they will know the veracity of the situation. So accordingly, I believe that we should have only one. I would like Senator Nengi to move a motion that we invite those people to brief the Senate in closed session so that before we can make comments on this in the open. But in the meantime, we note the allegation, and we also note the devastation that Boko Haram has caused the nation. We commend President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for being able to tackle the situation to a point where no territory in the country today is hoisting the flag of Boko Haram. Whether we like it or not, he has done a very difficult job well. And so we must commend him across party lines. So Senator Nengi, please phrase your prayer in a way that we can let this.
Thank you, Mr. President. In seconding the motion, I want to say that the allegation was made by Scott Perry. It was not a social media thing. And I agree that such issues should be discussed in a closed session. But Mr. President, this is not a social media stuff. And the investigation is going on right now in the United States Congress. And also today, the President, Donald Trump, also said specifically that in that investigation, the support given to Nigeria so far should also be investigated. With that, I want to second the motion to collapse the two prayers into one. I so second.
Thank you. Also, America is going through a metamorphosis, a political metamorphosis. It's almost like one political party is taking over from another political party, and allegations flying left, right, center. It's only through thorough investigation that the truth can be established. Even America has not taken the allegation hook, line, and sinker. They are investigating. So Nigeria must also investigate to be sure, because we won't just keep quiet. It is true that US aid have been funding Boko Haram in Nigeria. We have no business allowing them to have offices in Nigeria. So before we can take decisive steps and also ask for recompense, automatically we must go deeper into the issue. So it's important that we get briefed by our intelligence community. So distinguished colleagues.
Serious wahala. Anyways, imagine these critical issues. Senate president is still calling it social media talk. Social media talk. That you're not good. Serious issue. This one critical. I like Senator Untume response to you that Mr. President, this is not social media. Scott Perry in the US. And now, how many Nigeria in the US be isolated because of this? I think 5 of them. And the list, the names have been mentioned. This one is still calling the social media talk. This man has been saying it. The time of Buhari. Everybody could remember this interview. Now, listen to what he said. So this is just the problem. So these people now that they mentioned, they are in government. That is a major problem now. They are all in government. Some are senators, governors, ministers. So that is a problem. And now it's just like these people now, this talk now, it don't bother them. It don't bother them because there's nothing you can do them. They are all in power. They know that this we are talking about everything these people say. Scott Perry said it is true. What are you going to do? It feels like I don't get it. I don't. This one is saying with this one critical issues. It's still talking about social media issues. Talk. Go and investigate. What more do you want to investigate? What do you want to investigate? The name has been mentioned. It's not as if they hide it. The names are on social media. They mention names that these people are responsible for the sponsoring of Boko Haram. These people did 5. How many of them? Names has been mentioned. Many, even of this recent. What stops you guys, the military, to go after those people that their names has been mentioned, their names has been published? What stops them? Nothing. But because the personality. Anyways, because if you continue like this, it's just like this matter will die on social media. It will just be like Akpabio say, it will be on just a social media talk. It will die on social media. It is only the same Trump that will, if at all he truly wants to help us to deal with them from America, not here in Nigeria, because leave them here in Nigeria is a lie, it's a waste of time. They are not going to do nothing about it. If Donald Trump is serious, deal with them in that America. Once the name is published, mentioned, not the investigation concluded, stop them coming to America. Yes, that's the only way. I mean, Donald Trump will deal with them in that America, not here. But here, they will leave it for social media talk. It's not going to work. They're not going to do anything about it. Because names has been mentioned many times. There's nothing has happened to those people and they are still serving. Anyways, please, what do you think? Share this video and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Follow this page for more.